In the thunder of artillery, the scream of dive bombers, and the grinding steel of tanks, there was another army. One without flags, without rank, without a voice. They couldn't wear medals, but they earned every one. Pigeons, dogs, horses, elephants, cats. Animals fought and died alongside humans in World War II. Not by choice, but by trust, by loyalty, by bond. Their stories are often forgotten. But they mattered, they saved lives, they brought hope. And sometimes, they died, or were maimed for strangers, never understanding why. The war was unlike any before. Vast armies clashed on continents and oceans, with technology pushing the limits of destruction. Amid it all, men turned to animals. Sometimes because they had to. Sometimes because they had no other choice. From the skies to the trenches, from harbors to jungles, animals played roles critical to survival and victory. In the chaos of battle, communication was a matter of life and death. Radios could fail. Lines could be cut. So the Allies turned to carrier pigeons, small, silent couriers who crossed blasted landscapes and enemy skies. They flew without weapons, without armor, guided only by instinct, by an unyielding will to return home. One pigeon story echoes louder than most. Cher Amy, dear friend, in French, served with the U.S. Army Signal Corps in World War I. In 1918, he flew 25 miles through gunfire and smoke to deliver a message that saved nearly 200 trapped American soldiers. Despite losing a leg and an eye, he completed his mission. By World War II, pigeons were once again enlisted in the thousands. In 1943 Italy, another pigeon named G.I. Joe flew over 20 miles in less than 20 minutes. His message stopped an Allied bombing that would have killed their own soldiers trapped behind enemy lines. For his courage, G.I. Joe was awarded the Dickin Medal, the animal equivalent of the Victoria Cross. These birds carried hope when machines failed. Dogs were everywhere in the war, some trained, others simply companions. They didn't understand borders or politics. They knew only loyalty. They served as messengers, medics, sentries, and friends. In 1943, during the invasion of Sicily, a dog named Chips, a German Shepherd, Collie and Husky mix, charged a machine gun nest alone. He forced the surrender of 4 enemy soldiers, returning burned and bleeding. Though military rules barred him from official honors, the men he saved knew his worth. Then there was Judy, a pointer aboard a British gunboat in the Pacific. When the ship was torpedoed, Judy swam for hours beside survivors, guiding them to safety. Captured by the Japanese, she warned prisoners of approaching guards, found water, and protected them in captivity. Judy was awarded the Dickin Medal, the only dog officially listed as a prisoner of war. Some animals became mascots, symbols of hope in desperate times. Wojciech, a bear adopted by Polish troops, and Simon, the cat aboard HMS Amethyst, offered comfort amid chaos. Simon, the cat aboard HMS Amethyst, was wounded in a shell blast but returned to duty within days. He comforted sailors, kept the ship free of rats, and earned the Dickin Medal before succumbing to his injuries. Through it all, these animals gave everything, never understanding why, but never abandoning the men they loved. Before tanks roared across battlefields and trucks rumbled along supply lines, there were horses. Millions of horses were pressed into service during World War II. Not out of choice, but out of necessity. Despite blitzkrieg and mechanized warfare, the German army depended heavily on horses to pull artillery and carry supplies. The Soviets, British, and Americans did the same. Through frozen forests, muddy roads, and shattered villages where vehicles could not pass, horses carried the weight of war. They hauled guns and ammunition. They carried the wounded and the dead. Many suffered cold, hunger, and exhaustion. When they collapsed, they were often left behind or put down. Millions died. Soldiers grieved briefly, then turned their eyes to the front. Far from Europe's battlefields, in the jungles of Burma, elephants played a different but vital role. British officers and local mahouts risked their lives to rescue these giants from Japanese-held territory. Elephants hauled bridge timbers, carved roads through dense jungle, and moved massive trees to open supply routes. They moved mountains, one step at a time. Faithfully, quietly, unstoppably. Not all heroes in this war were large or loud. Some were small and quiet, yet no less vital. Cats prowled aboard warships and in bunkers, hunting vermin that threatened food supplies and morale. Glowworms helped sailors read maps at night without betraying their position. Silkworms spun silk for parachutes, their delicate threads supporting pilots falling through enemy skies. Mules carried supplies up steep ridges in Italy, often starving and exhausted, collapsing only after delivering their load. Though these creatures could not understand the war around them, they bore its burden alongside men. And when peace came, their sacrifices were mostly forgotten. No parades. No monuments. Only the faint echo of paws, wings, and hooves, and the quiet loyalty that never faded. War has changed. Steel giants roar less often. Satellites circle silently overhead. Drones scan the skies. Yet animals still serve. Dogs patrol the front lines, their noses sharper than any machine. They sniff out explosives buried deep beneath earth and concrete. They track fugitives through forests dense and dark. They leap from helicopters into unknown danger alongside special forces. Dolphins and sea lions patrol harbors, detecting underwater mines, guarding ships from hidden threats. Bees and rats, trained in labs, now detect explosives and chemical agents, their senses faster than any man-made device. They serve not because they understand war, not because they choose to, but because they trust us. And that trust is a burden we must never forget. Not every animal returned from the war. Many gave their lives in silence, far from parades and monuments. The pigeons that carried vital messages were shot down or lost in storms. Dogs protecting their handlers were wounded or killed in battle. Horses collapsed under the weight of artillery and hunger. Elephants, too, faced dangers in jungle warfare and harsh conditions. Simon the ship's cat died from wounds sustained during combat. Many animals remain unnamed, forgotten faces in a history written mostly by men. Yet their sacrifices shaped the course of the war. They bore burdens no human could carry alone. And though their voices never spoke, their loyalty still echoes. War is remembered in monuments and medals. But the animals who served are often absent from those pages. They did not understand borders or politics. They did not seek glory or honor. They served out of trust. Trust in the humans beside them. That trust became a bond stronger than words. Long after the guns fell silent, their stories remain. From carrier pigeons to sentry dogs, from horses to jungle elephants, and all the small creatures in between. They were not soldiers. They were not volunteers. But they were heroes. Their loyalty was given freely. And their memory deserves to be remembered.